As the election counts continue and elected officials are settling in, many Americans have become anxious about the future. And for some, that means doom spending. Doom spending is when people spend money to soothe their fears about broader issues. Many spenders saying that it's better to treat themselves to an impulsive purchase now rather than wait for a future filled with uncertainty. Now, to keep your money in your pockets, experts suggest unplugging and taking a step back from the internet. They say you need to be self-aware of your habits and beliefs surrounding money. They suggest non-shopping activities to work out the anxiety without spending.
So essentially they're saying to get outside and touch grass, because what's happening is people are having anxiety, and anxiety is leading them to doom spend. So let's see what this person has to say about that.
This Americans are feeling anxious, so they're doom spending. Anyone? Anyone else? Here's two of mine. I went to get my sister a ring for her birthday. I went to my favorite store in Des Moines, Kin. Beautiful, beautiful crystal rings and mystical items. This wasn't cheap. Got another amber ring. That's just a few of the things I've purchased. I bought a whole lot of shit. And I know very much that shopping is a coping mechanism for me. And again, even though I make a really concerted effort to buy secondhand, sustainable, there's always times I don't. And, you know, perfect can be the enemy of the good sometimes. But anyway, point being, I'm still buying shit I don't need. It's over consumerism. It's just purchasing to make myself feel better.
So at this point, I think we all know that social media causes anxiety, or I shouldn't say causes. Social media can contribute to anxiety, possibly even depression, FOMO. So I thought I'd pull up an article here from UC Davis Health about social media's impact on our mental health. So the article reads, social media can negatively impact our overall well-being by fueling anxiety, depression, loneliness, and FOMO, fear of missing out. These issues are especially prevalent in teens and young adults. So this tracks what this woman was saying. She was saying that whenever she feels anxious, she tends to go online and spend. So I did a quick Google search, and it says that research indicates that social media significantly increases impulse spending, with many users reporting making unplanned purchases after seeing products advertised or promoted on social media platforms.
Everybody keeps talking about how millennials and Gen Z are just like doom spending money, about how basically we're like, everything's pointless at this point. Our money's all fake. The system's screwed. So we're just going to treat ourselves. We're going to buy the things that we want. And we're just kind of, have a little bit of fun. And that's why we haven't fallen into a recession. And I just find it hilarious how this is being attributed to Gen Z and millennials when I'm pretty sure this started with the boomers. Our government's like $30 trillion in debt. And who are all the people in charge of the government? All people from the boomer and the silent generation. And people keep wanting to paint that us millennials and Gen Z are being irresponsible with our money. Well, we're just taken out of the page of the people who raised us. We saw they got to have a bunch of fun with a bunch of money that wasn't theirs, so why don't we do the same thing? Because you know what, at this point, everything's screwed. Listen, this is absolutely not a solution at all. This isn't going to fix the problem. But we're just so fed up with how this has just been shoved to us. Basically, hey, the previous generations bought all this stuff and here's the bill. We're kind of doing the same thing, but we don't get to pass the bill off because it's still going to go as our debt, not someone else's debt.
Okay, so this guy has a very interesting perspective. He's comparing an individual view of everyone's doom spending on an individual level to a macroeconomic view of government spending. So he's saying that essentially the government is going into massive amounts of debt, which we all know national debt is in the trillions at this point. And so he's saying basically they're passing the buck. And so why are they going to criticize millennials and Gen Z whenever the boomers and silent generation, who he's right, predominantly are the people who make up the federal government, are they going to make fun of us or talk down to us about doom spending when essentially they're doing that on a national level? So that's actually a very interesting perspective. And he's saying that obviously it's not the solution to doom spend, which we know that's not the solution. That's very catastrophizing-ish. That's very just throw it all to the wind and say forget about it, live for today and forget about tomorrow. So really, unfortunately, to get through this inflation or to reduce the inflation, we're going to have to go through some pain, some serious pain.
I have $63,000 of debt and I still travel, eat at restaurants, donate to causes I care about, visit coffee shops, spoil my cats. I made a debt payoff plan and budget exactly how much I need to reach my debt payoff goals each month and not a penny more. Financial goals should be shaped around your life, not become your life. Restriction can work short term, but it's not a sustainable or healthy way to live. For me, this means living within my means, budgeting in my financial goals, and not feeling guilty for spending what's left over.
Okay, so I thought I'd throw this in because there's an interesting perspective that this woman has. She's basically saying that she did a smart thing. She developed a financial plan. She developed a budget in a way to track and pay off her debt over time. And after she got that number, she pays that off each month and no more. She said not a dollar more. So essentially, instead of doom spending, what she's doing is making a plan and putting money aside towards that debt while also living her life. So I think that's a really good way to think about it and a smart way to go about it, as opposed to just saying fuck it and throwing your hands in the air and just spending money like it's crazy, especially on debt, and saying, you know what, whatever, tomorrow is whatever it is. Make a plan and work towards that plan, and whatever money you have left over, if any, and if you don't have any money left over, it means you need to increase your income. I know it's easy to say, but hey, drive Uber, you know, it's a creator economy. Make some YouTube videos, dog sit, whatever you need to do, but then take the extra money after you pay off the debt each month that you have determined you need to pay off with your plan, and do things like she said: spoil on her cat or splurge on her cat, drink fancy iced coffees, take trips here and there, you know, reasonably, buy nice clothes, whatever drives you. That's a better alternative to doom spending. So I thought this was a really good alternative and a good way to end the video out on a more positive note. It's not so doom and gloom. It's not so dire. And she has $63,000 worth of debt. So that's not crazy debt. I mean, I know it's all relative. Some people might have $500,000. Maybe a different story. I still think you shouldn't just throw your hands up, and depending on the debt, you know, you may be able to bankrupt it or whatever. But hey, again, I'm a guy on YouTube, not gonna get into that in this video, but I thought it was a good way to end it, a good note. So with that being said, if you stuck around the video this long, I really appreciate you. Feel free to give me a like if you feel so inclined to, subscribe, and until the next time, make smart financial decisions.